Bueno, antes de empezar, bueno, ¿qué esperamos un poquito de este? ¿Qué esperamos?
Sí, ya que tenemos un poquito de tiempo, sí, si te parece, vamos a comentar cositas. Es que no sé qué decirte, tío, de esta nueva expansión, porque
Buah,
sinceramente, a ver, obviamente, pues veremos el último tirito, ¿no? De Geralt, al menos en principio, a expensas de que
sí.
a lo mejor pueda salir o no en el 4, o a lo mejor como personaje jugable, quién sabe.
Ahí le has dado.
Pero bueno, imaginemos que solo al menos pueda ser tipo que tenga un papel del rollo Besemir, por ejemplo.
¿Mm?
Pero yo me espero algo así, al menos en el 4 y en esta expansión, pues digamos su retiro, ¿no? Por así decirlo, entre comillas.
Ya está mayor el tete.
Más, a lo mejor no mayor, pero está cansado, jefe. Entonces,
Está cansado, está ya hasta los huevos, la verdad.
está cansado el jefe, entonces, pues nada. A ver, también es una buena excusa para hacerse otra run de Witcher 3.
Claro, pero a ver, ¿por dónde lo cogen? ¿Sabes? Lo que yo quiero saber, a partir de dónde van a coger este DLC, ¿me entiendes?
Bueno, cada expansión sucede en sitios distintos, en momentos
Claro, por
distintos.
eso. Es una historia
Entonces,
para hacer luego el de Witcher 4.
a ver, esa sería la intuición principal, ¿no? Bueno, al menos sobre lo que hemos estado leyendo,
Mm,
sobre lo que hemos estado viendo y tal.
claro.
Sí, yo creo que es bastante plausible de que
Yo
sea
puede ser que,
como
yo
un
creo que
enganche.
también,
Sí,
puede
sí.
ser, ¿eh?
Puede ser un enganche. Lo veo bastante viable eso.
Yo también lo veo muy viable eso, entonces a eso es lo que yo me quiero referir. Bueno,
A
el
ver.
tema es que... Buenas noticias. The Witcher 3 también trae... hoy trae buenas noticias y también una advertencia importante para jugadores de PC. Con la llegada de Song of the Past en 2025, The Witcher 3 requiere Windows 11 de forma obligatoria.
Para mí, sinceramente, es mala noticia, pero bueno.
Muy mala noticia. Los discos
Sobre todo
duros
para gente que, perdona, para gente como tú, que no, por lo que tenéis de PC y tal, no podéis actualizaros a Windows 11, porque no lo permite la placa base o lo que sea, ¿sabes? Que a mí me parece injusto, sinceramente.
Ya, injusto, tío. Bueno, el tema es que también, mira, los discos duros mecánicos también se quedan fuera. El juego exigirá instalación en SSD. CDP justifica el cambio diciendo que Microsoft dejó de dar soporte a Windows 10 en octubre de 2025. Bueno,
Vale.
eso es verdad, pero
Ujú.
bueno. Según una encuesta de Steam de abril, un 25,63% de los usuarios sigue utilizando Windows 10.
Es que es eso que, a ver, que yo entiendo que tengan que coger el juego, actualizarlo al final a los gráficos actuales y tal, pero a ver, entendiendo que en verdad es un juego
15.
15, ¿no?
Sí.
Es que me confundo con The Last of Us que fue en 2013 y se me mezclan los años. O sea que al final es que es normal, tío.
Ya, no, hombre, y tanto.
También por una parte, bueno, no sé cómo lo harán también con el tema del juego base o solo será el DLC que tenga un poquito mejor de gráficos. Yo entiendo que será todo el juego, ¿no?
Yo creo que también.
Digo yo, ¿no? Uy, no, no sé.
Mira, lo que dice el señor Revenant. Igual nos estamos fumando un porro con la nueva espada de Geralt y realmente solo indica el número de expansiones. Como
Hombre, pues
viendo...
puede ser, porque viendo las imágenes, ¿no?
Sí,
O sea, el primer DLC tenía
bueno,
una
a ver,
espada,
quien no
bueno,
sé,
se
quien no lo
veía una.
vea, se ve una, ¿vale? Aquí se ven las
Mm.
dos, esta de aquí y esta de aquí. Y aquí se ve la tercera, claca y claca.
Que por cierto, del último póster, bueno, según he estado viendo y tal, la espada que tiene en la mano, pero supongo que es la de plata por el tema del pico hacia abajo y tal, en el mango, se ve que en otro póster que salía Jaskier y tal, esta espada ya salía.
¿Qué dices?
He visto otro Twitter en el que no la espada, sino la funda se puede parecer a la funda que lleva Ciri en el 4 con la espada de acero. Lo único que he entrado en el Twitter y he mirado las fotos y digo, pues sí, son diferentes, tío. Más que nada porque la vaina, la que sostiene Geralt en las manos en el DLC, o sea, en el póster del nuevo DLC, digamos de mitad para abajo hasta el pico de la vaina, tiene como unos dibujitos y tal. Y la vaina que usa Ciri para su espada de acero es totalmente lisa. Es del mismo color, eso sí, pero es totalmente lisa. No tiene relieve, o sea,
No,
dibujitos y estas cosas.
no lisa,
No, sí, sí, sí que es lisa.
no lisa. Empezamos, empezamos. ¿Eh? ¿Eh?
Hello everyone,
Eh,
welcome to Corridor
Eh,
Blanco.
¿Qué pasó?
No hay subtítulos. ¡No! No hay subtítulos, me cago en la hostia.
Uy, he puesto pausa. Ahora mismo están presentando. Hostia, vale. La de las redes sociales. Vale, el director de arte, de entorno. Y la segunda de esto, de redes sociales. El director de las redes sociales.
Making notes, sending them our way. So if there is something crazy, something might happen. But yes, we're here today to celebrate Blood and Wine. As you can see, we have festive table. We have some wine, sweet treats.
Hombre, pues sí, bastantes cositas tienen.
More cakes.
More cakes.
Looking at those cakes, very hungry here.
And we are in the house of Garrett. We have his armor.
Si no, frutas y galletitas.
Roach is somewhere here as well, so
The swords.
crazy things might happen. This is true.
Ya, las espadas, las armaduras. Roach dice que está por ahí. O sea, sardenilla.
Anything that you want to ask us, now's the time to drop it into chat. We won't be able to get through everything, of course, but we'll do as best we can to get through as many questions as possible. And just before we actually dive in, we wanted to take a second to just say a really heartfelt thank you to everyone after the announcement of Songs of the Past yesterday. We have been inundated in the best way possible with questions.
De nada, a vosotros.
Really lovely messages from everybody. We just wanted to say we love you. We appreciate you immensely.
Sí, sí. ¿Y la expansión para cuándo?
Bueno, están agradeciendo todos los mensajes de ayer por el apoyo a nuevo DLC, bla, bla, bla. Dicen que también abrirán como un chat de preguntas y respuestas y eso.
We do have a really small surprise in form of a contest that you will be able to win.
Y una pequeña sorpresa en forma de contenido. Uf. Qué bonito. Encima así con relieve por el reflejo, he visto. Vale. Vale. Más sortean 3 de esos. ¿Ves? Bueno, pues nada, eso. Si se comenta ahí en los comentarios, ya sea durante o después del directo, se entra en el sorteillo.
There's no way it was 10 years already. It's crazy to think about that. It's really crazy to think that 10 years has passed. Because I have such a fond memories about working.
Hombre, es que 10 años son 10 años, ¿eh? Bueno, ya lo comentamos con Dragon Quest, que joder, 40 años, ¿sabes?
Yes, I'm still amazed that we are celebrating this 10 years. But also for me what's very important is the fact that, The Witcher still brings so many emotions, so much love and so much care into our fans and our community. It just shows that, Geralt is a very iconic I would say pop culture character in our world, and it's just amazing to think that we're part of that. It's just crazy. And yes, 10 years. I think they're lying to us. I think there's something wrong there.
La verdad que tiene que ser increíble participar en un proyecto así, tío.
Then I would say, yeah, of course it was 10 years, it was 20 years ago. It was like it never happened. But now when I'm back working on The Witcher, actually, then it's like you said, it was just a week ago when it was released because it's so came back and it's so fresh.
You're watching this right now, all the memories. The song, Beauclair, crazy.
Speaking of the song, it's very, very different from
bastante loco.
In the base game, so let's say Skellige and then Hearts of Stone. How did you guys came up with this idea? Was it difficult to design completely new version of the Witcher world.
I mean, I think first came the idea of having vampires there, and then we thought, where could we put this story of vampires that would make the most sense, kind of, that would be the most interesting? Because, you know, if you think of vampires, you automatically think of gothic, dark, you know, everything broody and just a nighttime. So we decided, okay, so let's take this beautiful land that was described in the books of Toussaint, and let's put the story there. So we wanted to, you know, just play with this juxtaposition of this funny contrast.
I was about to exactly say this, and it's great that you use this word, it's a contrast. And of course, I wasn't part of making the decision to be part, this game will take part in Toussaint, but I think it worked phenomenal. If you remember the first trailer we dropped, it was this story about, you know, a character narrative person is narrating through how great Toussaint is. You know, everyone had fun, they feast, they party, they drink a lot of wine, they make wine. It's all those great things you think about this. And I love this trailer because at the end, there's a question, so why Geralt is here? Why we invite here the Monster Slayer, right? Why he is here if it all goes so well? And then there's a switch to it. You see...
Es que es admirable, tío.
And you're like, it's very dark. It completely changed the tone, the trailer completely changed the tone. And I think to your point, Maj, I think it's exactly that. Look in this world, it's a fantasy picture-esque world that nothing can go wrong, yet everything goes wrong, right? And I think that brings that contrast. And I think, going back, Maja, to your question, of course, you know, the whole Toussaint, it was incredible amount of hard work for the whole team. And of course, great shout out to Lucian Dientzek. He was art directing the whole expansion pack when it comes to environments. And I always remember when he said one thing to us. You have to work and build this world in a way that if a painter would sit anywhere, it would look like a picturesque vista to sit down and just paint it. And I think that stuck so much of in our heads because we try to make those vistas and those open opportunities, like even, you know, the palace here, the whole Bouclair, it's very much...
Es que qué currazo, tío, de entorno.
Here, the team did a great job, but it's very picturesque.
El de Blood and Wine es súper bonito. El castillo y todo. Wow.
Completely different. It was this completely shift in what we tried to do, and especially because, as I said before, the Velen, Novigrad, they're like completely sad, dark, and not that pleasant, let's say, places to be.
Yeah, I guess on that, obviously...
Sí, más tétrico, ¿no? Más... Eso, bueno, gótico y tal.
Thinking about trying to create this almost like fairy tale. That's exactly what it was. Like, were there inspirations that you were drawing from, or like locations that you think of that made you think this is how we want to go for?
So definitely the world itself was heavily Italy, province, which is the France, and it's not the wineries, a lot of those nice, hot, very pretty places. I think the color palette, again, this was a lot of that, trying to find the contrast, but also trying to find this balance between how far we can push the colors to make them look like they're fantasy, yet they still land the Witcher-ish flavor. And I remember those conversations were like really having, are we too far, or is it not enough? Like, let's push it further. And Lucian was like, you know, going crazy, but I think that's exactly what it is trying to find that sweet spot. And it's really hard to say where it's done. It's like you have to feel it. But yeah, it was a very fun process for sure.
And it also has to be difficult from like the writing perspective, right? Because you have to match the colors in the story as well. So it's not just, you know, we're gonna put vibrant red and yellow and green everywhere. It's just like the story also have to be, you know, the nights and all that, right, of the song. So
yeah, but it's on the surface. Like you think that in such a beautiful land, the people would just be happy, a bit drunk all the time, but generally just so happy to be there and peaceful because this land is far away from the war. It was never like, nothing bad happens there on the surface. That's what you think. But actually, when you dig deeper in the story, it turns out that actually there's a lot of bad stuff going on underneath and everything is rotten and just falling apart, like Geralt's villa in the beginning.
Do you have something that you were sort of most proud of in the creation of this space for players?
You wanna start?
De lo que está más orgulloso de haber hecho este lugar.
Because again, it's
Bueno.
a huge collaboration across all the teams, and I think first of all, the fact that this expansion pack, because I think it's a big difference, the whole story was built pretty quickly. It took us a bit over a year, and the fact that the team worked so well and the vision was there, I think it was a very,
Ostras.
I'm a very proud part of that because it just made the whole process to be much more fun process because you felt you knew what you want to do, and when it comes to banking the world, so. It
Claro.
was funny because the fact about Blood and Wine is, for me, it's a very important part of my career here because at that time I was starting my first step as a manager to work with the team, and my responsibility at most was to work on the CDO booklet.
Ah, mira.
And I'm proud of that.
Oh, qué bonito y qué presión por partes
I know
iguales.
it maybe sounds a bit,
Al ser su primer trabajo como, digamos,
you did a great job.
Today we can
para llevar a un equipo y todo,
It's a celebration.
It's a
day.
celebration.
Okay, so let's go with this. It's not
importante a la vez por ser la primera vez en su carrera.
And it's a big, massive world. It's as big as Valan, I believe, and Novigrad. The map is huge. So the team already made a great job. And also what I do like, and I can talk openly about this right now, is that what I said before about the team being so passionate, we put a lot of things under the radar. Like we put wineries. I remember at some point I was asked to not work on catacombs. Under Booklet we have catacombs, and I was like one day away from people saying, like production saying, like, no, there's no time. I was like, okay, and I put the catacombs in there like this one evening, and people liked it so much. We have quests right down there, and I cannot imagine not having those in Booklet anymore.
Yeah.
Or we put wineries that no one knew about. I just had like small agreement with people that can help me to build those, like community people, lining team, and we collaborate under the radar to put them. And I remember at some point there was an article, I don't remember what magazine was that, but they had like 5 top wineries in Blood and Wine, and the one that we did was second. I was so proud. about it.
Nice.
But it was this passion of like, let's go, let's do something
go.
crazy,
Yeah.
and it was nothing could stop.
Madre mía.
Yeah,
That's the proudest part.
I have a funny story connected to that because going back to your question, I'm really proud. It was like a win for the story team because, you know, us writers, we always struggle with reality when it comes to game development and producers telling us that certain things cannot be done. Because if you have a piece of paper and just your imagination, everything is possible. So we came up with the idea of, for one of the quests, that there would be a druid forest, like a special place. And then, yeah, exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. And then level design tells us, okay, guys, but you have this huge map already. Do you really need another forest? And yeah, actually we do. But then we negotiated a bit, and what came out of this was
Hace falta otro book.
in the quest Beyond Hill and Dale, I think it's called. And it's like a unique place that is actually even more fairy tale-like because it's like actual characters from fairy tales are inhabiting it, so it was like it was done because we couldn't.
Todavía más, se cabe falta.
I think, in the end, it's a win. Yeah, it's a win. I think.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the name, Blood and Wine wasn't the original
No, it
name.
was not.
What was the original name, guys?
So back in
Ah, no?
when we were cooking this early days, we called it Bob.
Yo pensaba que era el nombre original.
It was Bob. And Bob came up from
No jodas.
That was
Bob.
the original title. We were using as our internal title before we changed it to
Bob.
Blood and Wine. But we always go like, working on Bob. Let's work at Bob Cool. Bob is this, Bob is that. So it was very fun.
Hostia, qué guapo.
White Hot.
Que pelota un wine fuera Bob, tío. Se podría haber quedado en Bob, ¿no?
This expansion is under Bob. Yeah, it's Bob.
Okay.
Nice little Easter eggs.
An Easter egg. Speaking of Easter eggs, what's your favorite?
Are you doing first?
Yeah, I do have a favorite. I don't know if it's exactly an Easter egg, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's actually a whole quest, but it's hidden on the map. You don't get this job
Vale.
the normal way, like there isn't an NPC waving at you saying, hey, I'm here, I need your help. Or you can't get this from a notice board. It's the quest with the talking roach. I'm proud of it because I wrote it. So yeah, so I really like it.
Ostras.
And this is again, it's a very funny story, like on the surface, but if you think about it, there are very dark themes in it, like cruelty towards animals or a person's disenchantment with society because we have this woman there living a secluded life because she was so hurt in the past. And also we have Geralt, who is talking to his horse, but he's not really talking to the horse because we don't have talking animals in this world. It's like he's hallucinating. And I think what he's going through there really, again, it's funny, of course, but it also tells you something about his psyche, his maybe insecurities, because he is imagining what people might think looking at him, like talking to himself constantly, muttering, "Oh, there's a flower there. It means that it was a brook," like he always does. So in this quest, he's talking to his horse, but probably you might think that there's something deeper there. So yeah, I really like this one.
I think that's one of the
Pues en verdad, vaya porro de quest.
tackling like really human issues, I guess, in really interesting ways that can get dark, but also keep people entertained and also going, "Oh, I'm high right now."
True.
It's a real art to it, and I guess I want to just throw to chat here because we have a couple of questions for you guys that are sort of specific to what you do. And so I wanted to ask Magda, was it difficult for you and the team to branch out from the main storyline for the expansion? And then do you kind of feel like that branching out was maybe possible for, like, this is the moment where mistakes can happen if you're not careful, and how do you make it work? How do you bring it all together?
Yeah, it's always difficult because you have to remember that some players may have not finished The Witcher 3 before they start Blood and Wine. So you're writing a dialogue happily and you want to you want Geralt or some other NPC to say something about the ending, for example, how it ended with Ciri or whatever, and then you think, oh wait, but some players may not have had any ending actually. Or you want to say something about Yennefer and then you go,
Hay algo que no cuadra.
maybe Geralt is not with Yennefer. So it's like on daily basis we have to deal with that a lot. But on the other hand, it's not that difficult. We have, a lot of spreadsheets. We have people taking care of that and making sure that we have a lot of testers, obviously, who are also very dedicated to finding all those silly mistakes that we make. But also when you write dialogues normally, the way that we do, and you have all those choice hubs, then you also have to branch all the time, and you have to keep in mind that the player might actually have gone the other way than you're thinking of because they chose some other option that you thought was probably nobody's going to pick it, but you always have to remember that some people might. So yeah, so it's tricky, but it's something that I really love about my job. I just love doing those little blocks in the editor and just taking the line through them.
I think that's the fun part. Again, I'm not a story writer. I just cannot imagine how much information you have to have in your head all the time. But I think that's the cool part about that. The story is impactful. And to your point, if I did not do this, my story going to be different.
Exactly.
But there's so many hooks and ideas to be able to elevate that. And I think you guys are doing a great job to maybe having those different endings, different branching, different...
De cómo la historia puede impactar en el juego y todo esto.
So maybe let's throw
Y a
one
través de,
more.
de las expansiones
Because you
también.
already touched upon this with the Druid's Forest. Was there something else that you wanted to include, plot-wise or mechanic-wise, that you couldn't because of the limitations or no time?
If I can speak on my experience from that production, it's always the case that we're trying to find a balance. We always go far too far, and then we have to scope down. It's always the case. We have something called ambition, I guess, which is great. But yeah, we always go, so the booklet, if I think I would find some old images of booklet was actually massive. So I had to scope it down because production reasons, but also maybe it was not that much fun. It's finding the balance. That's I think the part of it where when we build this whole world, and again, insanely big world, there's always the question is like, how we can make this world to be on time and fun. Of course, I would say first on fun, then on time, but it's always that struggle. But
Es
also,
difícil mezclarlo.
like something was specifically cut. The one thing that I can always recall as a cool experience, at that time it's frustrating though, but was of course part of the process is, you know, we're trying to find a place location in Buclair. For now it's ended up to be Mandagora, but I remember like we did this quest like 4 or 5 times from scratch. But it was always the case, right? This ambitious, we're trying to find, it doesn't work, what we can do better, why it doesn't work, what we can improve. So that's the part of the process. I don't think you have to cut anything that was very meaningful to me.
Al final, prueba error y ver lo que más convence y ya está.
That would be my, yeah, that would be my
Bueno, al final forma parte del desarrollo, eso también.
But even if I can just chime in also on the Easter egg part, because it kind of comes to the content itself. Outside of this one famous one that we have this picture of the team on the Mandragora Mountain, which was, I think, I love those Easter eggs that we include the whole team as a celebration to the whole world. And also I remember one day at the office, someone told me that there's a cemetery. Someone, and I heard like they're gathering people to be on that stone tombstones. And I want to be on stone tomb, and I told Marhevka, our writer, Tomek, please put me on a tombstone. So we have our, I don't know who's there with me, but we have a huge, by the catacombs, there's a huge open cemetery, and you go to every single tombstone, that's the developers' names, twisted to have this French Italian like name, and Tomek put like a very cool small anecdote when we built something. I told him like, I don't have that exact line, but he kind of twisted my sentence in a very funny way of like, don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna put it here, put it there, like an architect. and he's just amazing, and I'm putting those things together. So Tomek, thank you so much for putting me on the
Madre mía.
It's a
Locurita,
pleasure
¿no?
to be right now part of the song.
Sí, como la siesta que te has pegado, ¿no?
When Grzesiek Sadziński and Karolina Stachera reached out to me, like they're looking for people to like pretty much kill. they need dead bodies. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm game.
Chuck me in.
I'm gonna be dead.
And what's really cool about all those tombstones, there is a personal story behind everyone. So there's like a snippet of really cool detail that, you know, only friends know or like your coworkers.
Correct.
So like when I saw my tombstone, I was still working in the, back then it was called tech support, now it's player experience team. We had like all our team had the tombstones next to each other. I was like, oh, it was like really, really personal message. Like I was like, these guys know me too well, and I'm here only a year.
Yeah.
So it was great. So you guys need to check the graveyards
Every single one.
and tombstones, so you can get to know us a little bit
Vale.
more.
That's really
Speaking
nice.
of dead people,
Pues lo haremos ya dentro del juego.
speaking
Pues sí.
of dead
I see dead
guys,
people.
we have vampires in the game. Like Toussaint and, you know, all that is one thing, but vampires, Regis.
Yes, and very much a burning question that we're seeing from people in chat right now. He's beloved.
Yeah.
Something that would be really cool to know is how did you approach finding the right way to bring him into the game?
Oh, that's a good story. I was going to mention that because somebody asked about content that was cut. Regis almost didn't make it to the game. Because, yes, it's
Imagine.
true.
I'm gonna drink for that.
For the longest time when we were developing the story, we already knew that there's going to be vampires. So obviously, naturally, we go to Regis because he's a character from the books. But if you read the books, you might remember that he dies at the end, and it's not like a typical vampire death when you cut the head off and then after some time they regenerate. But Sapkowski made sure to really like kill
Eso
him
muy
really
facilito.
good. So we thought that he's dead. We can't use him because that would break the lore. So thanks to Ola Motyka, one of the writers, who was very interested in bringing him in. She would just chime in during our brainstorms, like every half an hour. So how about Regis? Maybe we can use Regis. How about we find a way of putting him there? And finally, Marcin Blachar just gave in, and he said, okay, We'll find a way. let's have him because she won't shut up. So.
That's what we call social
Yeah.
pressure.
And then
Vamos a intentarlo.
coming
Claro.
up with ways of how could we possibly explain how he got resurrected. We came up with the story of Detlef, that he used his own blood and some vampire magic to bring Regis back. So we owe that to Detlef, but also especially to Olambatek.
So you're saying magic can fix everything.
Yes.
Simple as that. Recipe for life.
There we go.
We just need
Pues mira.
purpose in our lives.
Sí, sí.
really.
That's it. Simple as
Facilito, mi rey.
Is a dead laugh.
Yeah.
that. And some
Well,
magic.
I guess even on this, on Detlef, how did you sort of go through the process of deciding what kind of antagonist he was going to be for the player to have to interact with?
We knew that he's going to be layered because we have Regis, who is a vampire. He can be very dangerous, but he's also friendly. Like, he's one of Geralt's best friends. So if we wanted to introduce another vampire, we couldn't just make him like evil, you know, like totally without any morality, without humanity, because then we wouldn't be able to make this connection between Regis and Detlef. Like, they are not exactly, but they are the same species. If we went with Detlef just being your ordinary antagonist that you just want to kill. So we decided that, okay, there is some humanity to him as well. There's some depth. He's a tragic character. I wouldn't call him a hero, obviously, but there's a tragedy to him. And I would go as far as saying that he's pretty much a victim of circumstance, because in another like scenario, he might be friends with Geralt, just like Regis is. So, yeah. So, but he was antagonized because of the story that we put him in. So I think those kind of characters are the best because there are layers and layers to them.
I think to add on point of that, I think that for me, even as a gamer or someone who has experienced that story, the fact that you believe and you understand his motivation behind why he does that makes him so much more believable. You can of course argue how crazy he was,
Qué guapo fue este boss, por eso.
putting all the vampires to destroy Buclerc
Bueno.
clearly. But at least you know why he's doing this. He's
Ojo,
doing this
tío.
because he fell for a girl and he's just being used. And it just brings that believability to the character, and you understand that it's tragic. Yes, maybe he's doing something really in our code wrong, but you understand why he's doing it. It was great. I think it was great.
Pero el cómo lo pensaron, el contexto que le ponen, tal.
So probably also
Está guapo.
I don't
Aparte,
know
sí.
about this, but Detlef is the
Es un buen
name
boss.
based from a real name of our friend, our concept artist, Marta Detlef, which of course, huge shout out Marta to you. Marta Detlef was also a character designer. That she was designing this character, and I believe the team picked up the name because it landed well in the
Yeah.
story and narrative.
It has that.
It sounds right.
So Marta, you sound good.
You sound really good. And speaking of Detlef,
Yes.
we're wearing new t-shirts. You guys will be able to get those t-shirts. They're Detlef t-shirts from our gear store soon. They're like almost there. So if you want to represent Detlef, our colleague and the vampire in the game, there will be a chance. And I know, and I can see Sebastian is
Killing.
Mid-fight.
killing him mid-fight, so he's trying his best. How was it to design that horribly difficult fight? I don't remember how many times he died, but it was very difficult for me.
So I haven't been.
A ver, fue complicado,
It goes to the gameplay, narrative, animation.
Digo, madre mía, ni que fuera un Souls esto.
Designing this. However, I do understand and believe that the whole part of this was to create this very much layered approach to him. That he has this depth. That he is this very old vampire that's seen all of it. He's not like just some low-key vampire. He is the guy. And he
Había quedado
just
sin batería los cascos, coño.
before, getting what he wants.
Está bien eso.
Seeing that every single stage you see him transform, like right now we're like almost at the end of the fight, the whole environment and himself changes to be more and more terrifying. I think the final form is like flying vampires, actually pretty scary. But it was also to make this very cool promise of you actually don't know him, you don't know what's underneath his layers. You kind of feel like you know him, but maybe not.
But you don't.
And I think that was the whole narrative, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, behind it as well.
And also, it has a lot to do with blood. Yeah, like you can see on the screen, blood magic. So we have all those really horror. Like I forgot that it's so.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really creepy. Yeah.
I think it's really cool that the teams, even though you're working on different projects, right? Like he as a character is so layered and complex. And then this fight is equally as layered and complex. So you're sort of going through his motivations that you understand on this side. And then you're also having this like wild fight that's going through these layers the same way. I think it's like a really beautiful artistic approach.
It also does a story on the character, and also makes him to be, again, very interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Because you never know what's going to happen. And of course, at the end,
Yes.
it's also this choice whether or not, you never know what's next. But again, going back to what I said before, for me personally, when I played the game and I understood why he's doing this, it was not that easy to fight him, because I can understand and try to put myself in this position. I don't know. Maybe if I would be a crazy vampire, maybe I would do the same. You never know. But, yeah, it kind of brings you to the character much more.
Qué cabrón.
I was looking to the chat because I could see questions,
Burning questions.
coming. So I think let's maybe lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's been a bit
A dark,
It's heavy.
dark
Yeah.
one?
Who came up with the idea of Godness Gracious Great Balls of Granite Quest? It was
I
hilarious
know, I
quest.
know who wrote it. It was Tomek Marchewka, who
Of
you
course was
mentioned
Tomek
already.
Marchewka,
But
yeah.
whose idea it was? Maybe it was him. It was his.
Pretty much, I can imagine
Could
it was
be,
him.
yeah.
Let's say it was Tomek.
Tomek, you've got a reputation.
Yes.
It was great quest.
It was such a
great
fun
quest.
quest.
Okay, and I think we have one question for Magda. Geralt arrived in Tucson on a mission involving the Beast. He had to navigate carefully among both aristocracy and the vampires, keeping the fate of the duchy in mind. Could you discuss the methods or techniques used to make the player responsible for well-being of duchy or the individual fates of people?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think
Yes.
one of the ways, and we always try to get the players involved and put them really in the shoes of Geralt, is making decisions. Like if you are presented with a choice what to do, first we present the situation, the characters. Like we already said, each of them has their own reasons why they did what they did. Because Detlef was manipulated by
No, al
his
final lo hacen como un libro, te presenta los personajes, tal, las circunstancias, el contexto y tú luego ya eliges.
and so on. So first we
La
present
diferencia es que
the
los libros está
situation,
predeterminado,
characters,
pero
and then
aquí
you have to
puedes
make a
elegir.
decision. And the moment that you're put in
Igual.
those shoes where you have to make a choice, this is when
Y desde el
things
principio del juego
actually
siempre
start to
no lo han
matter
hecho así.
to you personally as a player, because it's Geralt's choice, but obviously it's your choice as a player to go this way or that, or to say this thing without knowing what consequences it might bring. So, yeah. So this is how you do it.
Super interesting. I guess also
Oh.
as a change up and starting to move on to some of the other sort of really well-loved characters that we meet in the journey. Anna Henrietta is really different. And in particular from other rulers that we see in the Witcher universe. What sort of defined her as a character for you in this process of building her?
I really love that character. I think that she's very layered. She's on the surface, she's very volatile. She's very stubborn. Sometimes she can be silly. Like she can be, you look at her and you wonder how come this whole kingdom doesn't fall apart under such a ruler. And actually it doesn't. It all works. Her subjects love her actually. It's prosperous, it's beautiful, it's peaceful, where everywhere else it's torn by war, and here it's just this peaceful land. So she's doing something right, but you have no idea how. So yeah, so it works very well. And again, there's this duality, like this shouldn't work, but somehow it does. So yeah, and I think even though she can be like volatile and so on, she's still deep down she's a good person, and she really cares about her subjects, And even though she might make some silly decisions, deep down, like people can recognize that this want of hers to make things right for them. So I think this is why it works. But
Makes sense. I can't stop.
No me acordaba de que podías de que montabas unicornios, tío. Bueno, por esta parte lo que habían comentado de que se habían basado también en cuentos de hadas y tal para hacer el entorno y todo, la historia y todo. Madre mía. Bueno, de hecho, ahora que de esto, la torre me recuerda a la de Enredados de Disney.
Uy, no. Bueno, fumaditas 3D, tú.
¿O será que no?
Bueno, algo.
Like you said that it's twisted now. The fact why it's twisted is because
No, pero el cuento de este de princesa encerrada en un castillo, o sea, en una torre y tal.
Everything changed for them, like in their psyche, their development, and especially Sienna went through some horrible stuff. So the land that was based on their imaginations also kind of grew and got twisted. And you have this girl selling matches. As she's now
Me dirás que no.
A ver, un poco sí. Vale, sí, vale.
Ah,
vale.
Ah, mira, espera, una que se ve entera.
We actually just got really cool questions. I want to interrupt you guys.
Just pink horses.
Te lo compro, va.
I mean, we have Laura. She's like all horsey.
Unicorns, I'm in.
Yeah.
There's
How
one.
do you write all those silly little things like NPCs chatter? How do you write those things?
Te pasa una que se ve entera.
Oh, you just write. I mean,
Sí.
just writing them.
Vale, sí, hay que decir que
is the
sí.
difficult part. The difficult part is getting them
Ah.
through.
Pensaba.
Vale, sí, sí, tienes razón, tienes razón.
Look at it
Tienes
like the
razón.
11th time while playing the game, and it stops being funny if you look at it too many times, and then it's like, is it too much? Is it too silly? Is it still The Witcher? So those decisions may very easily just get rid of those lines because people think that they're not funny anymore. Even you as a creator stop thinking that it was a good joke like 2 months ago, but now it's just horrible.
Not anymore.
Let's get rid of it. So actually getting them through and getting them recorded and putting them finally in the game, this is a success. And this was all possible because I think it was a great set of like the time that we were developing it was just right for it because we knew that The Witcher 3 was a success when we were developing this. So it was like the atmosphere was so laid back. It was just like, just like Toussaint. We were just having fun and everything was beautiful, everything was relaxed. So I think the silly stuff that is so densely packed, especially in this expansion, is partly because of that relaxed atmosphere that we had.
That's a great point. I think that's also something to point out why, again, for me at least, Blood and Wine was such a fun process, fun time. From developer perspective, when you have the tech, you know how to build the game, you know what build you're making, and then you just put stories on top. It's just so much easier because you know what you're doing, you know how to do it, you went for it, and it just makes the whole process to be so different. Of course, I haven't got a chance to work on Hearts of Stone because I was stuck with this one. So I don't know how people react with Hearts of Stones, which I, by the way, love this expansion also. And it was fun because I never worked on this. I had this experience, the story from day one. It was great. But yeah,
Claro, a ver. Si has trabajado en la expansión, pues le tendrás cariño, ¿no?
Algo de cariño le tendrá, ¿no? Vamos a decir.
Sí, bueno, el de la primera.
It's like vampires and fairy tales. This is exactly what it is right now. That's the cocktail here. Great stuff.
That's very cool.
Tal cual. Vampiros y cuentos de hadas. Resumen de lo que es Blood and Wine.
Which you kind of had as an idea and didn't make it into the final game. This comment here, R.I.P. Thumbelina.
Oh yeah, she's somewhere there but dead. I remember correctly? Yeah, exactly. So we put everything that came to our mind. We were actually looking for more ideas, like especially with this part, like give us more, give us more. What other fairy tales can we squeeze? Because it was just so easy to do, because it's enough to just hint at something. Everybody knows those stories so well that it's enough to show.
Oye, pues muy curioso, todo lo que están comentando. Pero es un repaso bastante extenso, de lo que ha sido el desarrollo del DLC y todo el rollo,
Joder, y tan extenso, loco.
It's really cool.
Pero han ido detalle por detalle.
Sí, sí. Y también preguntas tanto de ellas dos como de la comunidad y tal. Hombre, llevan 40 minutos, con la tontería.
Sí. Con lo cual yo 10 he hecho un momento.
A ver un momento. Ah, vale. Es que quiero enseñar una cosa. Es que... Vale. Muy bien. Es que acaba de decir, vamos a dejar el chat tal, digo, hostia, entra en materia, pero no. Si vale la pena Blood and Wine. Hombre, pues sí, ¿no? Vale mucho la pena, ¿no?
Vamos a decir que sí, ¿no?
Hombre, tanto para ampliar historia, otra excusa para pasarte de Witcher 3.
Correcto, correcto. Es que no tengo tiempo. ¿Por qué? Porque tengo más ganas de Witcher, pero es que tiene ya 16 años. Es que...
Me la pela. Sí, es una expansión, obviamente. Claro, como la primera y como la segunda son expansiones, no son simples DLCs como tal.
I would like to think always that this could be sold as a separate game. That's always our go-to. And when we say DLC in our case, it's like you can download a couple of armors, some swords, and potions here and there, and they're usually for free. But we always keep to this. It should be the same experience as our main game. That's the expansion in our head.
Exactly, and especially with this one, I mean, like literally, the map is expanded by this huge region, so it's an expansion.
And also, maybe you're gonna call out something, hopefully not too controversial.
Claro. Es que al final expanden mapas, ¿sabes? Y si expanden mapa es una expansión del entorno de Witcher 3, ¿sabes? Yeah. Es que... Aparte de historia también, bueno. O sea, bueno, más que expandir es nueva historia, pero al final es una nueva región en el mapa, tampoco...
Kind of like main stories to tell, just a bit later.
Expanding the story.
Precisely, that's a good way of putting this.
In the name.
It's in the name, correct.
Exacto.
Okay, and we have one last one. Okay, so
hostia, mira la imagen.
The last
A ver.
expansion.
Sí. ¿Es Blood and Wine la última expansión? No, ya sabemos que no, pero... Ojo ahí el director de luces, ¿eh?
Son 5.
¿Te imaginas?
Yo creo que son 5 expansiones. Vaya triple me he tirado,
Let's go!
It's releasing next year, 2027, and it's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PCs.
Now, we know that you have
Bueno, todas las plataformas menos Nintendo. Esta expansión es en colaboración con Full Theory, que también son la gente que está haciendo el remake del 1.
El remake del 1, ojito,
But for now, we wanted to answer some of the more pressing questions that have come up for us.
So the first question would be, are you still releasing cross-platform mod support for The Witcher 3?
And happy to say, really easy answer for us. The answer is yes. We are still working away on it. We don't have anything to share with you
Perfecto.
today, but rest assured, it is coming.
It is coming. So, second question.
Yes.
What is Songs of the
Oye, pues eso está muy bien, el tema del crossplay.
We won't give too much away right now again because we want you to experience it when you play. But as a few eagle-eyed people have already seen over the last 24 hours, there are some hints for you waiting on a very important evening in Witcher lore, Belleton Night, in our Belleton celebration that we shared a few weeks ago. So keep looking for clues.
Maybe they missed something. Who knows?
Okay.
How big?
Dejarán pistas a partir de hoy por la noche o algo así.
So, Songs of the Past will be aligned with what you're familiar with Blood and Wine, and what you've come to experience and expect from us when we do our expansions.
So it's expansion pack.
It's an expansion. Let's be clear.
You know, I just want to shout out.
Es un pack de expansión.
I'm super excited.
Ya te lo ponen el mismo nombre.
Tal cual, tío.
Again, after all these years, it's still this much love and passion for Geralt and the world. It's just insane. So great job. Can't wait.
For sure. I am going to hit Amelia with a couple of questions now that, again, pressing in the community. Amelia, will there be new Gwen in Songs of the Past?
Is Pavel Buja here? Ryan Skull here?
He's not down there.
Anyways, Witcher 3 equals Gwent.
Nah.
More Gwent coming. Simple as that. More Gwent.
And more Pavel, I guess.
We'll see if he's
Vale.
up for more Gwent.
Se viene más contenido en Gwen, tío. Buah.
El puto Gwen, no vea coñazo el Gwen, loco. Si me tiré 20 horas jugando al Gwen.
Más.
So yes, Geralt is holding a sword. It is a very important sword for the story, and
Sí.
you will get to know it once the game is out.
Vale.
So just, you know, few more.
O sea, la espada que sostiene es importante.
before
Al menos lo
the-
recalcan esto.
Awesome. So, I think once again, to everybody, thank you so much for all of the messages. We truly have been noting down all of the
De nada,
messages that have been
a
coming
vosotros.
through. A lot of them, we're not going to spoil anything.
Pues nada, habrá que esperar a 2027, tío, para jugarlo.
Summer, when we will share more. But I guess on this note, that's kind of it for.
Mostrarán más en verano.
So Casper, Magda, do you have final words for our 10th anniversary of Blood and Wine?
I would just like to say thank you for having me here because, like I mentioned, I'm always, you know, just scribbling away and doing blocks on the screen, and it's so easy to forget who are you actually making all this for. So it's so nice to have the questions because it's, you know, it's so important to remember that what you're doing is actually for the people and somebody is going to enjoy it, because it gives me like so much energy to keep working. So thank you.
Thank you.
Same for me. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
De nada.
I've been away from the Witcher's world for a bit, so it was really nice to get back here, even for this small, brief moment. Thank you, Maj and the crew, for working on the new stories to tell in this universe. It's great. And for me, it was just insane to kind of get back to the song for even a couple of minutes. I feel like I'm going to have to find some time to play the game again. It was great, and of course, a huge shout out to the whole
Claro.
crew that worked.
Ahora hay que volver a jugar al juego otra vez, ¿sabes?
Qué pena.
That is, making the new story for us,
Jo,
which is
yo que no quería.
So,
De nada,
we
vosotros.
don't have anything new to show you guys for Songs of the Past. When we leave you today,
Vale.
we want to give you a taste of one of the tracks that you will be hearing when you play Songs of the Past. And Amelia, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and as we already said, more information about Songs of the Past will be coming the late summer, and you will be seeing more of the expansion at Gamescom this year at the entertainment area. So if you don't have plans, now you do. All right. So,
Joder.
lovely.
you know,
Vale, o sea, más información a finales de verano o así, o por verano. Es que ha dicho o sea, que entiendo que finales de verano, que mostrarán gameplay y tal. Bueno, a ver, veremos lo que
Bueno.
van sacando.
Sí, no, ya veremos a ver qué.
Adeu, adeu. Yo pensaba que también, por eso.
Mirad, aquí están las
Pero bueno,
specs. Que bueno, me toca la polla porque por componentes me tira, pero por sistema operativo no.
ya. Bueno, lo que hemos hablado de que sea obligatorio. Windows 11, 64, bueno, 64 bits obviamente, pero Windows 11 es que, tío.
Es una locura, tío.
¿Qué quieres que te diga, O sea, no sé. No sé, Rick parece falso, ¿no?
Ya, tío, es que no sé, tío.
Bueno, si lo han querido hacer así, pues nada, pues ya está.
No sé.
Entiendo porque les será más fácil en el 11, bueno, ya que también, pues, bueno, lo que ya sabe todo el mundo, que Windows 10 ya ha dejado de tener soporte por parte de la compañía y eso,
Claro, no.
que es normal.
Ya, pero bueno,
Pero
tío, ¿qué
bueno.
coño les costaba, tío?
Pero oye, tío, muchas ganas, de que muestren cositas. Habrá que esperar a verano. En principio, verano. Es que, claro, al principio la primera ha dicho verano, genérico. Pero luego digamos, la chica que presenta el directo y tal,
Sí.
ha dicho a finales de verano. O al menos yo lo he entendido eso.
Yo creo que
O
será
sea
para
que, bueno,
finales, ¿eh?
o sea que, bueno, veremos. Si.
Bueno, a
Si
todo
a lo
esto,
mejor, si a lo mejor sacan algo, no creo, pero que a lo mejor saquen algo durante la semana del Summer Game Fest o ya pues CD Projekt ya lanzará algo durante los meses de verano, a ver.
vale.
También ha dicho que a partir, no sé si de esta noche o durante los próximos días irán lanzando como pistas. Entiendo que la página oficial, pues, a ver, veremos.